Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Quigg, and I will be your worship partner today. And I'm extremely happy to welcome you all to Westminster. Please note, yes. Please note that today is a very special service, as it is not only the first day of our official congregational year, it is not only our special water communion service, but it is also a continuation of our grand multi-platform experiment. This is the first time we will have people outside and also joining us through Zoom. Welcome, everyone. And our goal has been to make our in-person experience as safe and our online experience as inclusive as possible. You will see we have adapted some parts of the service in our attempt to make this happen. We hope you have had a chance to read the information that was in the service description about today's in-service format. There are some paper copies in the back if you missed that and would like to take a look. We have a couple of announcements. In a few moments, we will be lighting a chalice together. So if you are online, I invite you to go get a chalice or a candle if you have one nearby. Our services this fall will continue to be at 10 a.m. When we are able, we will hold them outdoors if we have volunteers to usher and to set up and take down, and if the weather holds. If you're up for ushering or a little physical activity before worship or after, please check out the announcements in our Friday e-blast to sign up, or click on the link in the chat if you are online. If you are new or would like to sign up for our weekly newsletter online, please fill out the form being posted in the chat. For those in person, please find a card on the table in the back or ask an usher for one. You can place that in the offering plate at the end of the service or hand it to an usher. Our children's religious education program will be starting up again soon, and we'll be sending out a questionnaire soon regarding offerings. If you have any questions in the meantime, please find Beth Gibson, our religious education coordinator, or send her an email. Beth, are you here? Wave. The Sharing Locker is looking for volunteers to help with prepping and serving our clients. If you would like more information or to sign up to help, please see one of our committee members after the service. They'll be wearing their Sharing Locker shirts. So if you could wave. For those joining us over Zoom, email addresses for Susan Farrell and Denise Levins will be posted in the chat. And finally, if you'd like to see the order of service for today, the link is being posted in the chat, or you can pick up a copy from the table in the back. Our chalice lighting marks the beginning of our worship service. I will light mine and share our reading. Then, if you are remote, I invite you to light yours if you have one. And as has become our custom, I invite our online congregants to use the chat to post the names of the street where that chalice was lit. And so we gather from the ebb and flow of our lives, thirsty for connection to ourselves, to others, and to a larger life. As we light this chalice, may all who gather here be filled with joy and hope, with compassion and love. Here, maybe we be filled so that we may pour ourselves out into the world.
That's Zoom. I'll leave that alone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ellen Quadgrass. I'm the minister here at Westminster, and it is so good to see you all today. Yeah, and it is good to see all of you because I can see you too. I have my computer set up so I can see everyone on Zoom and I can see everyone here in person, and you all look fantastic. I am so glad we could figure out something that brings us all together, even with the challenges of these times. As Sarah mentioned, this is just our second attempt at a multi-platform service. And this one has its own unique challenges, as Water Communion has some extra moving parts. Something is bound to not go as planned. We will just call that part of the beauty and unpredictability of life and another opportunity to take things in stride. I have a feeling that in this space and in this space, we'll be fine. I do want to offer a wholehearted thank you to the many people who have spent, many of them, hours preparing for this service this morning, as well as all those who helped with chairs and tents and the million details that were involved. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for making this possible for all of us today. Let us begin to deepen into our experience of worship this morning with some words by the Reverend Karen Johnson. Let us hear the call to flow as the river flows, effortless and mighty, to find hope in each other, to inspire each other to never go it alone. This is a call to new beginnings, new creations, to new chances to do good deeds, to forgive and seek forgiveness, to be written into the book of life. This is a call to offer solace where it is needed, and to find joy whenever and wherever it offers itself up in the now of every moment. Today, let us hear the call to find our heart's most precious intention, letting it have its wild way with you. This is a call to come back, come home, come to your senses, come to yourself, come to your whole and holy self. It's a call for body and soul, for each and every to be healed by flowing waters, by mighty waters, by sacred waters that show us the way. And let us now join in our opening hymn, the hymn after which this service was named, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. If you are here in person, just a reminder, we won't be singing this morning, but I do invite you to engage in the music anyway by standing and swaying or humming along if you like. And of course, if you are at home, feel free to blast it out with your mute button on. Let us rise in body or in spirit. Amen. Let us join for, please stay standing for our Unison Affirmation, which is printed in your order of service or is being posted in the chat. Love is the spirit of this church and service our mission. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please be seated. We have come a long way. Whether this morning you got in your car and drove 5 minutes or 15 miles, or whether you walked 5 steps to your computer, we as a people have come a long way to get to this service this morning. We've been through a lot in our lives, in our communities, in this congregation, but here we are, worshiping together. It is, as noted, our first official service of the congregational year, a service of celebration, and it is our water communion, where we, like streams flowing toward a river, like rivers toward one ocean, all come together from our separate lives, our separate experiences. We flow together, mingling our lives and ourselves to create something bigger and more whole. Symbolically, we create something new. And that newness feels like a particularly appropriate metaphor this year, this idea of coming together to create something new. This service here online under this beautiful tree, under this beautiful sky, that's new. The fits and starts of reopening all around us, that's new. And it also just happens this year that this Sunday falls right in the middle of the Jewish high holy days, marking the beginning of a new year, 5782, on the Jewish calendar. This is the time, Jewish tradition has it, that the book of life is open. There is a chance for change, a chance for renewal, a chance to start over and begin again so that everything can feel more full and fresh and alive again. There's a catch, though. This gift of renewal doesn't happen automatically. One piece of wisdom our Jewish siblings offer us through this holiday is that renewal is a process. If we want a fresh start, we can't simply rush forward into something new. If we really want change, we have to begin by looking back, reflecting, and taking stock. Not just the good stuff, but the hard stuff too. Maybe especially the hard stuff. And there was a lot of hard stuff that happened this year. Stuff that happened to us, stuff that we did that we kind of wished we hadn't. Facing what has been and recognizing it and moving through is all part of creating what can be toward possibility, new hope, and new life. But like so many spiritual practices, we may resist. We don't want to look back. We don't want to change to move forward. We've done enough changing already. Thank you very much. But the hope of the Jewish high holy days and a hope for us here as we start our congregational year today is that transformation may offer unexpected gifts, as in this story that Sarah will share with us this morning.
The Little Stream Called to the Sea, a Sufi story adapted by Sydney Wilde, adapted by Reverend Kristen Grassel Schmidt. From its source in the majestic mountains, a stream ran as fast as it could in search of the sea. Quickly down the hills it ran, creating waterfalls and rock ponds, trickling around trees and gliding through the grasses. The stream conquered every kind of countryside on its journey to the sea. That is, until it reached the desert. The stream began to cross the desert with as much confidence as it had traveled through every other kind of land. But it soon found that no matter how hard and fast it ran, its waters just disappeared into the sand. The stream knew that it must cross the desert, for beyond the desert was the sea. But it had run out of ideas. After what seemed like a long time, the stream heard a voice. It was the still, small voice of the wind. "I can take you to the sea," said the wind. "Come with me, and I'll carry you to the ocean shore." The little stream was amazed. "How could you do that?" it asked. "You're only made of air." "I can carry you on a breeze, but you must be very brave, for you must let go of yourself and change." "I've changed many times," thought the stream, and it said as much. "Yes, I know you've changed before," the wind replied, "but this will be different." The little stream was nervous. It didn't know what the wind had meant about letting go of itself, and it didn't like the idea of surrendering itself to something it couldn't control. But deep within, it yearned for the sea. So the stream took a risk and it let go. And as tenderly as a parent scoops up a sleeping baby, the wind picked that stream up. At first it felt frightened, for it felt almost lost. It was no longer really a stream anymore. It had been turned inside out by a cloud, twirling and floating and swirling in the sky. The view was like nothing the little stream had ever seen before. The whole world lay below it, studded with sparkling jewels. Then the stream-turned cloud realized that all those jewels were actually parts of itself, molecules of water, droplets sparkling in the light. And the stream-turned cloud saw that it was more beautiful than it ever could have imagined. Next, the stream-turned cloud realized that it was not alone, for the wind had whispered to other streams and to ponds and even to the morning dew, all of whom had also turned into clouds, and all of their parts were sparkling in the sun. Together, they were even more beautiful, for the sunlight had changed them into a rainbow. After what seemed like a long while, the stream-turned rainbow felt itself falling, 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 and falling. All the other droplets were falling, plopping down until all the droplets ran together into a mighty river, which rushed at long last into the sea, ebbing and flowing into the waves, pushing and pulling into the currents. What was once that little stream felt so happy, so fulfilled. I hear that every now and then the wind breezes by, whispering once again to the currents in the sea, "Come with me, come with me." And do you know, the waters let themselves go and rise up into the wind to be carried away, to start the glorious journey all over again. We lost a droplet.
Water can take many forms. Water can be a stream that runs to the ocean. Water can evaporate and become part of air. Water can condense and become rain, and freeze and become ice. It can be life-giving it can be destructive, it can be cleansing, and it can tear things apart, even as it can bring us together. As we think about the transformation possible in new beginnings, let's use the metaphor of different forms of water to represent the steps of moving through. Naming what's hard, accepting it and healing, and finding new joy. Let's begin with naming the tough stuff. Let's call it wild waters. And there are some wild waters out there from the recent unexpectedly damaging floods in Europe to Henry and Ida and whoever has or will come after that, the wild waters of climate change. And then there are the wildfires of climate change, the heat and winds in the Northeast and elsewhere that have been driving what seem like endless wildfires. There is the racism that continues to press on people of color everywhere, persistently making hard things harder. There is the wild shock of an earthquake in Haiti and the shock of what happened and is happening in Afghanistan, a sad, sad legacy of the grief of 9/11 and its painful aftermath. And of course, there is the up and down and back and forth of COVID and the scary headlines and decisions to be made again and yet again around the risks to take and not to take and the trade-offs to think about this week, what to do and what to avoid and what the impact is on us and our family. And then there are the other kinds of health challenges and work challenges, relationship challenges. Maybe the hardest part of it is just when you think something has resolved, there it is, back to be faced again. If it isn't in your life, it's in the life of someone close to you. There is a relentlessness and a fatigue. There's a lot to process. And that's real. And it's also real that we are in it together. The individual challenges may be different, and shared challenges may hit us in different ways, but it is still true. We are in it together. And being together, naming the challenges, naming the hardships can counterintuitively lighten their weight on any one of us. Naming what's been hard specifically for you in your life can help ease the burden of feeling alone in it. Naming the difficulties can remind us we are together, and with each other's support, we can make it through. It can be the beginning of finding a new relationship with all of it. So for this first stage of our water communion, I invite you to share up to 3 words or a short phrase that represents what's been hard for you this summer, this past year, the last 18 months, or the last 2 years, a few words to signify or express what wild waters you have faced. And while a few words may not sound like a lot, it's a funny paradox that sometimes the fewer words we say, the more our soul can speak. So let's try it. Here's how we'll do it. For the folks in person, you have 3 slips of paper in your order of service. There's a red, a turquoise, and a purple. I invite you to pull out the red one, representing wild waters. If you have a cell phone, smartphone with you, or a way to read a QR code, I invite you to do that. That will make it a little easier for our ushers. You can enter your word or words on the page that pops up. If you prefer old school or don't have a smartphone with you, you can use the right-hand side of that slip of paper and actually write your words there. If you're on Zoom, you will see a QR code on your screen, or you can enter words into the chat. Sarah and I will alternate reading words here in person, and in that way we will together create a word cloud. Our folks online will see it emerge on the screen, and here in person, Sarah and I will create a spoken word cloud. We may not be able to read every single word aloud, but they will all become part of the word cloud image we'll post later on in the week. With that, Yonetta will play some music, and I invite you to reflect and share on your wild water. So some words here: disconnection, lost mom's trust, teenagers, retirement, uncertainty, tumult, isolation, depression, grief. If you have words you want the ushers to bring forward, just raise your hand and they can bring them forward. Not seeing family, declining health, divisiveness, pandemic. Grief, longing, sickness, and death. Parents' help, middle school, challenges, the unknown, depression. Here's some that have been written. Pet died. Distance learning. Evil, prejudice, sexism, loss, pancreatic cancer, school. Sibling relationships, COVID, ignorance, and we'll share the rest of those in the image that will be released at the end of the week. We hold those troubles and pains in this sacred space. One big piece of the Yom Kippur holiday, and a big piece of the process of transforming what hurts into something new, is forgiveness. Forgiveness is an antidote to the blocks that we put up against the world. While it is our natural human reaction to tighten up when hard things happen, forgiveness softens us, helps lower our guard, opens us back up to the life we yearn for. And forgiveness is the first step
in making amends, the first step in restoring right relationship, the first step in becoming able to own our part in things and hit the reset button with others and with life. Forgiveness is a powerful idea that is rarely simple in practice. A quote from artist Brian Andrea speaks to the challenge. Anyone can slay a dragon, he told me, but try waking up every morning and loving the world all over again. That takes a real hero. It can be hard to love a world that contains all these things we just named, these things that create so much suffering. It is hard to wake up every morning and love the world and its people when they hurt us. It's hard to wake up with new energy when school or sports or hanging out with friends doesn't feel the way we want it to because of COVID restrictions. It's hard to feel good when we have to let go again of something we wanted because of the unexpected or the all too familiar, because that has come and swept it away again. It's hard to forgive when we're still angry or resentful. It's hard to forgive when we still feel threatened. It's hard to forgive when we are still hurting. So for this part of our communion called Healing Waters, I invite you to bring to mind what heals you, what soothes your anger or helps you express it and work it through, what helps you feel supported, nourished, secure, what helps you remember that you're okay, reminds you that you can make it through, that you're making it through. Who or what reflects back to you your resilience, your inner strength. I invite you in this next piece to listen for the still small voice in you that shows you where it hurts and how you might begin to heal yourself, heal your relationships with others and the world. For this section of our water communion, I invite those in person to pull out the turquoise slip representing healing waters. And you get to do the same thing, either write or use your QR code. And for those on Zoom, I invite you to either use the QR code you're seeing now or write your words in the chat. We will create another word cloud together. And as ushers grab the papers, just bring them right up to the front more frequently. And that way we can read them as they're being written. And I'll alternate again with Sarah as we create our cloud together again, as Nonetta plays the healing hymn, When I Breathe In. Some words I'm seeing online and from the QR codes here are family, meditation, cats, hugs, my husband, helping others, letting it out, hitting hopefully something inanimate, breathing, nature,
online games, family and friends, Westminster community, yoga, my kids, and the ocean, acceptance, love, food, walking barefoot in the forest, nature, family, friends, and coworkers, nature, and my dog Lily, music, dogs, martial arts,
Swimming. I can't read the rest. Child's laughter. Goddard Park.
morning coffee, family, friends, and faith, love, not hate, community, and helping, President Biden, friends, nature walks, Westminster.
Amen. In the words of Rabindranath Tagore, the same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of the earth in numberless blades of grass. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean, and I'll add that breezes through our hair. The dance of life is around us and inside us. How can we connect with it? Having acknowledged what is hard, having made some initial steps, softening what has blocked us off from life, can we find some new connection to the dance that is life? Or maybe, right in the difficulties, can we find our joy? Maybe in the midst of everything that has been so hard in these last months, maybe you found some inner resources to sustain you. You found some rays of light. You've discovered what helps you reconnect with that dance, no matter what's going on around you. There's a quote that a colleague wrote based on the words of the poet Rilke. Right in the difficult, this quote goes, are the hands that work on us. Right in the difficult, we find our happiness. So, where do you find your happiness? Where might you find it? So we'll take a moment to shift our attention to what has been good, to what we've learned, to what has carried us through, and how we connect with what's beautiful. Coming down on the other side of that desert, can we see the brilliant jewels down below, parts of ourselves sparkling in the sun, together with others in beautiful rainbow colors? For this final word cloud, I invite you to share again up to 3 words or phrases that connect you with joy. There may be some similar answers to last time, and that's okay. What in your life brings you joy? What words describe it? How do you know that you're feeling it? Who or what reminds you of it? And now I invite you to take out your purple slip if you're here in person, or use the QR code that you're seeing on your screen if you're online, or again, you can write the words if you're in person. And Nonetta will play There's a River Flowing in My Soul. So joy comes from cooking together, singing, baking bread, friends, hiking, music, children, dancing together, holding babies, gathering, hiking, cooking together, the color coral. I love that.
My students, mountains, family, spousal love, learning, laughing, and dogs. Morning meditation. Meditation, gifting others. Travel, hiking, kayaking. Imagination, creativity. Playing guitar, food, caring for dogs. Tent camping, playing gin, cold water.
Music and nature, family relationships, hugging trees, dancing to soul music while working, forgiving my family, gardening, community, being with progeny, friendships, and my dog. Amen.
As Unitarian Universalists, we have a big vision of a world filled with justice, compassion, and care. We work toward that vision in many different ways, one of which is through our offering, which sustains not only the life of this congregation, but also a nonprofit organization that supports our hope-filled values. This month, we share half our undesignated offering with Hope's Harvest, which mobilizes volunteers to collect unharvested produce and deliver it to people who need it. As an efficient and effective solution to the twin challenges of food waste and hunger, farm-based food recovery strengthens our local food system and makes our communities less dependent on food shipped from thousands of miles away instead of what's in our own backyard. The other half of the offering goes to support the good work of this community. You can donate using the link that is now being put in the chat. If you are here in person, we ask that you use your cell phone to click on the donate button on the Westminster website, or you can leave your offering in the box on the table after the service. The offering will now be given and received with gratitude.
Many of you here in person brought water with you from some meaningful place, or you had the opportunity to pour water, symbolic water that represents a place or water that has meaning to you. Here we have that water. We also have some symbolic water to represent the water of folks who are here on Zoom today. We also have water from last year in its own little jar over there, neatly labeled and sterilized, just so you know, from last year's water communion. And in this moment, I will pour these waters together. So Sarah's going to bring them forward. Let's start with the 3 or 2 of the, let's start with that. So these waters that you all brought with you today. So those were the waters from all of the gathered here. These are the waters from people who are on Zoom, symbolic water. And this is the water from last year, which, by the way, also contains water from the year before, which also contained water from the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, from before I got here, all the way into the past. These waters that I am now pouring together separate our stories, our individual unique selves, with all our difficulties and wonders. As I pour this final water, let us recognize waters that sustain us, waters that flow through each of us, and waters that bring us together. Today, we have blended our words, our stories, and our waters in a ritual of communion, symbolically mingling our very lives with one another. We have here our collected dreams, hopes, strengths, and loves. After today's service, I will prepare this water to be saved for next year's ceremony, representing the continuing stream of congregational life. I will also reserve some for rites of passage, for welcoming new members, for celebrations of life, for anyone who would like to use it for weddings or the dedication of a child into our community. May this water be infused with the spirit of this congregation, blessed by the love that is within our hearts. In the coming year, in the winter that is coming, in the hardships that may come, let us remember what has been shared here today of hardships witnessed, of healing lifted up, and of joy celebrated. May these life-giving waters be in us and with us as we begin this congregational year together. Let us conclude our service with our final hymn. Please rise in body or in spirit as we hum or sway or sing muted at home.
The hymn is Now Let Us Sing. Amen. Our closing words by Kayla Rice. Today you brought water and poured it into a common bowl. Though our experiences have differed, these waters mingle and signify our common humanity. Today we came and shared in this sacred community. May we go forward from this sacred time filled with hope for new beginnings and a fresh start. Amen. And we have our final closing song, Carry the Flame. We won't hold hands, but we can use our hand motions, which Sarah is really good at and is going to show us all. Go in peace, but don't go quite yet. I just wanted to let you know, for those of you who are here in person,